Nigerian lady who goes by the name Fidal Silly went online and said she will slap and fight any of her friends who calls her husband by his name. All right, according to what she put out there, as my friend, if you call my husband by his name, wallahi, I'll fight, slap you, and will now fight, real fight though, and unfriend each other. This was what she put out on Instagram. Okay, so a lot of people have been making reference to this post as to, come on, really, what is in calling my friend's husband by his name? For instance, his name is Femi or Wale, and then I come around. Maybe we've been friends even before you all got married and all that. Maybe we all went to school. Exactly, and I've always known you as Wale or Femi and all that. And then I come in, and you know, because your husband said, I can't say, hey, how are you, Wale? But then, is there anything wrong? Is there anything wrong in your friends calling your husband by his name? I'll start with you this time.
There's nothing wrong.
Nothing.
It depends on the relationship.
Okay.
If you have been schoolmates or friend with my husband, practically you've been calling him by his first name. In a formal world, you call your colleagues by first name, even your bosses. And sometimes you want to put some little, they said, no, call me first name. And then you come in. Except if her husband is much more older, maybe okay, like 10, 15 years, you know,
that kind of gap.
Then your friend who is apparently your mate, it will look awkward to call such a person by name. But other than that, call people what they want to be called. It's what you wanted. You call some people Mr. Say, no, just call me Femi. Don't put anything. I'm just simply Femi. So call people what they want to be called. But I don't see any big deal. But that is our own personal opinion.
So you don't think it's disrespectful if my friend just comes in through the door, you know, and just say, Femi Baoni, you know?
If your friend comes in just from the door and say, Femi, there is a relationship before them. It's no normal person will just enter, you're meeting someone and you just call by name. We won't say Mr. Femi. But if there was an existing cordial relationship, it's not out of place. But even if I'm meeting your husband for the first time, courtesy demand, good afternoon, Mr. Your name. Then if you now say no, I prefer you call me this. Some have nicknames and all that. So you call. My husband now, they call him man of God. That's not his name. But that's what even little kid read. Man of God. So anybody it's okay. So call people what they want to be called. But I don't think there's anything big deal. But if that gap is there, I think even common sense, you know that it will be somehow for a 23-year-old to now come in and slam a man of 50 and just call him by his name.
Thank you. All right, Pastor Dolly.
Yeah, I think I go with everything she said.
Okay.
Because there are people that personally we schooled together, both the husband, the wife, and we were always calling ourselves by names. You know, for instance, when I even traveled to Benin this last holiday, and I discovered a lot of people, they just Dolly, you understand? A lot of people, so we even add sister Dolly, you understand? Because that's the way they know me.
That's it.
And for me, I felt this sense of, oh my God, I'm so happy I'm back home. I'm in the midst of my parents.
People who know me.
I'm in the midst of people that knows me. By the time somebody type from the back, say, not be Dolly be this. Sure, you understand? Me, I was really excited about that. So when you meet with people that maybe were classmates to your husband, like she said, and all, I don't see anything wrong with calling him by the name. But even at that, by the time they were schoolmates, this man is not what he is now. By the grace of God, he's been elevated. He's now married. Try as much as possible to also add respect before the wife. Don't just come before the wife and say, Femi. No, it's not nice.
No, in this case, it's the wife's friends. All right, coming in to the house and calling the husband.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Before your friends, or before your friends
will call.
Don't just come in and be calling her husband's name.
Just like that.
It's disrespectful. Yeah, it's disrespectful.
Okay.
Because that is my husband. I expect my friends to respect my husband. So don't just come and, I just call my husband, but you are my friend. He is not your friend. To a very large extent.
What if he was the friend before they got married?
That's a different thing.
Or he's a friend of her friends. You know, this kind of jolly fellow.
Exactly.
If they were friends, we were all friends together, like I said. you can, it's Femina that you know him to be. Nothing wrong with calling him Femi. But now he's my own friend. You probably knew him because he's my husband.
Okay.
So you can't just come in
and just call him
by
okay.
the name.
All right.
You call him by the name is disrespectful. Mr. Whatever title he's bearing, give him
what
that
he wants to be called.
Well, what he wants to, and if you also understand that your friend, though you and her husband were classmates, you all are friends. You know she doesn't like people just calling her husband by name. Please, why don't you respect her? You want her marriage to work, don't you? So why will you be doing things that will provoke her in her marriage?
Okay.
Give the husband that respect. Whether she's there, she's not there. Give him that respect.
Thank you, Pastor Dolly. Amaka, wade into this conversation. How do you react? Is there a cultural aspect to all of this name-calling business? What do you think?
Thank you once again. I'm wondering, why did she take that decision? Where is it coming from? Is it coming from her self-worth? Does she have a self-worth issue? Is there something she needs to resolve that she has not resolved? All right, I would want to query into that aspect of life. And yes, like the other people in the studio have said, I believe that you love people the way they want to be loved, not the way you think they should be loved. I repeat, you love people the way they want to be loved and not the way you think they should be loved. If, quote and unquote, her expectation from her friend is not to call her husband by name, what does she want them to call him? All right? Because her friends obviously will not call her father, daddy, or mommy. If her husband is a pastor and everybody is shouting pastor X, Y, and Z, yes, you can call that. All right? If they don't have a child and you want him to call XYZ's father, she needs to be able to be clear with that. What do you want them to call your husband? All right? But if it's centered around her self-worth, she probably needs to see a therapist. All right? Like I already mentioned, if they are mates, that means they are within the first 4 or 5 years gap. There's absolutely nothing with calling somebody by name. In fact, people these days want to be called their first names because they think that they are not as old as people think that they are. All right? But for you to now wake up and expect that your friends will, I don't know, again, I don't want to assume what she wants to her friends to call her husband. So she needs to be clear on what she wants her friends to call her husband, so they will understand whether it's her or whether it's a complex issue or she's just wanting to honor her husband. Thank you.
Thank you, Amaka. Well, that's a different perspective, all right? According to her, it might actually not be the husband who has an issue, but she as a person, and that's true.
Yes, of course.
That's true, though. All right, so there could be a complex issue, like Amaka said. But then the thing is, I mean, common sense should tell you really how to relate with any one person if you do have sense. If you come into the presence of your friend and her husband, I don't think it should be just that forward to just, you know, you can just greet generally, good afternoon, sir. It doesn't reduce you in any way.
If you don't
all right,
say,
even if you don't say, sir,
John.
yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Femi, good afternoon, Mr. This, and all of that. I think respect, it's not so difficult, but a lot of people just have issues with, you know, calling people sir or just being respectful. I think it's a given that every one person should respect the other person. All right, whether young, whether old.
Across the board.
Across board. Which it's just
that is it.
It's just the way it should be. You should respect people. That's the only way you can be respected as well. All right, we have some reactions. Let's read very quickly. This one, Ola from Ikorodu. Hi, Ola. Ola says, good afternoon, Pat. Greetings to the studio guests. To the fighter lady. Should we call your husband His Excellency, His Lordship, His Honorable? That's all, Daddy Wa. Okay, all right, another reaction here. This one says, my name is Moses Olugbodi. Living together before marriage spiritually in bracket is against God's commandments. If any man traditionally, it is also wrong because you cannot remove sex from the relationship, and once the man has seen everything about you sexually, no matter how good behavior you may have, he will push you out for a little wrongdoing. Thank you, Mr. Lugbodi. Hey. Somebody is asking a question here that is beyond me. Please, how many times should a woman allow a man intercourse in a month?
Can we answer?
You want to answer?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Because when you talk about intercourse, you're talking of married man and married woman. So
Supposedly.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's how it ought to be. Me, I'm not answering for if you are not married.
Okay.
My answer is for those who are married. If you are not married, it is illegal at all. So for the married ones, intercourse is one of the things God made to perfect the marriage, to make the marriage complete. Without intercourse, the marriage is not complete. So if you are married to a man or to a woman, I believe that I was even counseling a young couple a few days ago, and I was telling them every other day, intercourse should be every other day for a married couple, because of the way the man's body is wired, and also as a woman, you are not wood now. So except if you're not performing the way you ought to perform, of which you can also seek help, because when you are still young, that is when you can enjoy it. By the time you are old, both of you becomes like roommates. It's no more like when you were young. So now that you are young, why don't you enjoy it? Why don't you have it? For a very healthy marriage, it has to be every other day. Yeah.
Absolutely. There is no timetable for sex in marriage, except if there is maybe health issue or whatever. I even hear women say, I'm so tired. You know they kill. I even discovered, because it's an aspect, you know they kill. If you want to sleep well, have a good sex.
Intercourse. Let's use intercourse.
Intercourse, yes.
Thank you.
Because sex actually...
Intercourse.
I was about defining the difference.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Yes. You know, sometimes people said intercourse involves actually penetration, while the other one has to do with activities around it that does not react into the main act.
I understand.
That's what we, yes.
Yeah.
So understanding that. So for married people, there's no timetable, please.
No timetable
No
for
timetable
intimacy.
for it. For intimacy.
Twice a day gone.
Ah.
It's not forbidden. Yes.
All right, so that's
Because
that
I think
for the person
It's
asking.
very important that this question came up, because
Yes.
I just discovered that these days almost every young couple you counsel is having problem with this, especially the women are having problem. The problem is always, she doesn't allow me, she doesn't allow
He's
me.
asking too much.
You understand? I think with your young girls, please work on yourself. That is why you marry. It's one of the reasons why
counseling.
you marry that man. Give it to him.
But then don't
You're
you think
always
there are
tired.
underlying factors or reasons why she's not allowing?
The factors can be dealt with, can be handled. That's what I'm saying. Don't give that as an excuse. I'm tired. Oh, I'm having pain. I'm having this. If you're having pain, go and see doctor. Solve it with the doctor and come back to your normal
Some
self.
other cases, not as a counselor, I've seen a case where, you know, you want to ask, when couples are having issues in marriage, I ask them, the female, how was your first experience? Because the first experience to intercourse will determine how she's going to be reacting to it. And then she said her first experience was very painful. So even now that she's married, each time her husband is coming close, that trauma of that pain is what just comes to her brain, and she doesn't want it. He said mere touching her alone is telling her that it's going to be beyond touching. Even when the husband just wants cuddling or just touching, she's scared it's going to go down there, and that pain. So people have different reasons why they run away from it. And for some,
Lots of reasons.
Some, the men have a greater urge. Some is the other way around. It's the woman whose urge. I be hearing now food, you know, they tire. So whichever has the higher urge, you have to service. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Once you are married, you have signed. It is not, you won't speak in tongues to get some things done. You have to do it practical. Yes.
All right, then there's some of us, the hygiene also can be a factor. I have to say that, okay? So the fact that you married her, Oga, doesn't mean you will not brush. or
And bathe.
and bathe properly
Yes.
and just, you know, smell nice.
can't even go
You
to
can,
work.
yeah,
And you
please
come
come
back
back and
and you
just,
don't enter
it's a
bathroom.
turn off for a lot of women.
You know,
to
mouth
smell.
odor can turn you off.
Thank you, but a lot
Or
of
you
things.
drink, and then you just, you know, that's hangover
Smoke,
smell.
and you can't
So you can't say I
A lot of
married you, I
things.
paid your bride price.
No.
So therefore you have not brushed in 2 days
And then you want to bounce her.
no.
You're going to rape her.
Please just
Yes.
let's be considerate.
Honestly.
I think that's the word. Okay.
That is it.
All right.
And sometimes when the woman is asking
Thank
for
you.
the man to be hygienic, it looks like she's demanding for something she shouldn't demand for. Bros, it's part of what you bring to the table for you to enjoy what belongs to you.
Yes,
if you don't have that good hygiene,
Thank you,
same
ma'am.
goes for the woman to bring to the table. You have no right to ask for what you are supposed to get from that very
That is
table.
it.
Yeah, thank you, ladies, because I think the person who is asking this question is a lady from the tone of the question. Okay, so sit down, have a conversation about it. I also, from experience, do know that a lot of women also don't find intimacy enjoyable with their husbands, all right, for diverse reasons, all right. Maybe he's not attentive enough, he's not paying enough attention. For some men, they just see it as bam wham, I'm done, all right.
That
Not
adds-
putting into consideration the feelings of all those come together to actually either make or break your sexual life, all right. So let's pay attention to each other, and women, be vocal, be outspoken, be vocal about what you want,
Patience, I
what
still
you want,
to say
okay,
this.
yeah, otherwise he might not know.
I still want to say this, patience. Don't rush in and rush out.
That is it.
Because one of the reasons why it is difficult for some women, now I want to talk for the women, is because some of these men rush in and rush out. Like I always
That's
counsel
what I'm
young
saying.
ladies, if you're going to have the intercourse, maybe in the evening, the foreplay should start in the
From morning,
Should start from the
preparation,
kitchen,
yes.
should start from the bathroom, so that at that time
All
in the evening,
signal
she
indication
herself,
is pointing preparation for
she's
the
already
evening walk,
ready.
in the
Get
mood.
her ready. Put her in the mood. Don't just leave
Jesus
her
Christ.
and
Yes.
want her to enter the mood
And
by
then
herself.
be
Put her
creative.
there.
Monotony, they say, what is it called now? Borrow me the word, Jerry.
I wish I knew the word you're shopping for.
Yes, it's the spice of life.
Okay.
Variety is the spice of
Variety.
life. Don't always think it's one way, missionary and all that. You need to read,
Hey.
expose yourself. Sex, I'm sorry, intercourse in marriage is a caucus. It's a major deal. You could have a couple come to you and they're having issue and they're asking what's the problem. You say ask her. You can be on ask her for 2 hours until you're able to break in and say, is it your intimacy, and then they'll now keep quiet. You know, it's something. So I'm telling her to be vocal. When a woman is even vocal, the man is like, are you, who are you, where are you going? This one you are becoming like this, who is teaching you? No, you have the right to learn as a man, as a woman. If the lady is marrying as a virgin who knows nothing, you have to read, you have to expose yourself, learn. There are books to read, learn and start, because you are not planning to have any other partner out there. So whatever it's going to take to satisfy each other and have it such that you can say thank you, please go ahead and do it.
Thank you so much. Even though I didn't have this as a topic on my rundown, but it's okay. All right. So for that person, hope your question was answered. Every other day, every day, if possible, twice a day, according to Pastor
Every
Tony.
other day.
I said every other day.
You said even twice a day now.
Yeah,
No, not
twice a
a
day,
few.
yes,
yes,
Nothing
bad.
do you.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we have another topic waiting to be discussed. Amaka, I know you are listening to us at home and laughing.